Can I swim faster than every water-type Pokemon? Water-type Pokemon are without a doubt the fastest swimmers in the entire Pokemon world, and many are based on real-life fish, animals, and other aquatic creatures. We've already seen a race between one of these water creatures and a human. That race being between the apex predator of the sea, a great white shark, and the goat of swimming, the greatest athlete of all time, the king of the pool, Michael Phelps, to which Phelps unfortunately lost. What I will be doing today is similar to that race. I, the Pokeplaya, the future king of Pokemon, will be racing against the fastest water-type Pokemon in the entire Pokemon world. Now you might be asking yourself, Pokeplaya, how are you going to race against a bunch of things that don't even exist? And my answer to that would be math. In the Pokédex, we are provided some specific information in regards to how fast some Pokemon can swim. Per the Pokédex entry of Sharpedo, Sharpedo can move through the water at approximately 75 miles per hour. So what I did was take this speed stat of Sharpedo, which is 95, and divide it by 75 to get 1.266666667, which I rounded down to 1.2, and I will note for all the numbers in this video, I rounded down because I'm a human and I'm racing against Pokemon. They don't need any extra help, meaning that one speed stat is equivalent to 1.2 miles per hour for a water-type Pokemon swimming through the water. What I then did was multiply the speed stat of some of the fastest water-type Pokemon by 1.2 to find exactly how fast they could all move through the water. Now that I knew how fast these Pokemon could swim, it was time to race. The race would be 25 yards long, one lap in a normal pool in the US. Now once again, I cannot actually race any Pokemon in real life, so I had to do a little bit more math to actually get this to work. Since I now knew how fast all these Pokemon could swim, I just had to figure out how fast they could swim 25 yards. So what I did was convert how fast they could swim in miles per hour to yards per second, then divide 25 by the yards per second. Meaning all that was left was to see how fast I could swim. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the first ever Pokemon Worlds Swim Meet. Today, we will be having 4 different events with some of the fastest and most famous water-type Pokemon of all time, as well as the one who calls himself the future king of Pokemon, the Pokeplaya. The Pokeplaya will be running the gauntlet today, as he will be the only one swimming in every single event. The first event will consist of the top 6 fastest water-type Pokemon of all time. The second event will consist of every single water-type starter. The third event will consist of some of the most famous and most iconic water-type Pokemon of all time. And the fourth and final event of the night will consist of the 5 slowest water-type Pokemon of all time. And without further ado, let's get this meet started. Here we are with the first event of the night. In lane 1, we have Inteleon. In lane 2, we have Iron Bundle. In lane 3, we have the Pokeplaya. In lane 4, we have Barraskewda. In lane 5, we have Greninja. And in lane 6, we have Starmie. Before the race gets underway, let's head down to the pool deck to hear from the Pokeplaya.
So how do you think this first race is going to go?
I'm gonna smoke all of them. I mean, how fast can they really go? Every time I use Surf and Hoenn, I encounter a Tentacool every 2 seconds. If these things can't outswim a stupid jellyfish, they don't have a chance against me.
Thank you. Good luck in your first race.
Thanks. He sounds extremely confident and brings up some valid points as well. It is a nightmare to swim in Hoenn without any repels. Let's head on over to the pool for our first event of the night. And they are, the race is over already. Would you look at some of these times? Every single swimmer just shattered the world record. Well, except for one. And here he comes at the end. The Pokeplaya places dead last, and it wasn't even close. Let's take a look at the results from event 1. Let's move on over to event number 2. Here we are with the second event of the night. A fan favorite, I might add, with it being a race between every single water type starter. This event will have 2 heats, with the first heat having Poplio in lane 2, the Pokeplaya in lane 3, Sobble in lane 4, and Quaxley in lane 5. As for heat number 2, we will have Squirtle in lane 1, Totodile in lane 2, Mudkip in lane 3, Piplup in lane 4, Oshawott in lane 5, and Froakie in lane 6. Let's head on over to the pool for the first heat of event number 2. Oh my gosh, and once again, the Pokeplaya gets absolutely obliterated. He's in the slower heat, heat 1 of 2, and he comes in dead last by one of the widest margins I've ever seen. Let's see the results from Heat 2 to see where he placed overall. Oh wow, it isn't looking good for him. Here are the overall results from Event 2, and it looks like he placed dead last overall once again. Let's move on to Event number 3. Event number 3 has an all-star lineup consisting of Ludicolo, Roompapa in lane 1, Gyarados in lane 2, the Pokeplaya once again in lane 3, Kyogre, the legendary Pokemon of the sea, in lane 4, Magikarp in lane 5, and Big Boy Wailord out in lane 6. Let's head on over to the pool for the third event of the night. And they are off. Look at Kyogre with those massive arm, wing, fin things, whatever you call them, effortlessly pulling ahead, while Magikarp and Gyarados are neck and neck. And would you look at that? The Pokeplaya is dead last once again. Let's take a look at the results from event number 3. And now let's move on to event number 4. For the final event of the night, I can assure you that this one will be a barn burner. The slowest water-type Pokemon of all time, plus the Pokeplaya, will be battling it out to see who is the fastest amongst the slowest, or just who can avoid being deemed the absolute slowest. Before this final race gets underway, let's head back down to the pool deck to hear from the Pokeplaya once again on his thoughts going into this last race of the night.
So it is safe to say that this meet has not been going as you expected. You've placed dead last in every single event, and it has not even been close. What is your plan going into this final race?
You know, I really think I've just gotten a bit unlucky, if I'm being honest. I heard this last race is with the slowest water types there are, so I'm fully confident I will cook them all this race. I mean, they're literally the slowest there is. I am not worried about anyone out there.
You say you're not worried, but I can't help but notice you put on a tech suit for this last race. Are you really not worried at all?
Don't worry about that. Ladies and gentlemen, this just in. Before this final race gets underway, we have a last-minute change in Lane 6. Pyukumuku, who is supposed to race in Lane 6 and who is anticipated on being the slowest Pokemon of the night, has pulled out last second. And its replacement, if I'm reading this correctly right here, is Terra Water Incineroar. This thing isn't even a water type. Who let this thing in? Meaning now, in Lane 1, we have Slowpoke. In Lane 2, we have Tortuga. In Lane 3, we once again have the Pokeplaya. In Lane 4, we have Spheal. In Lane 5, we have Wooper. And then out in Lane 6, we got that Terra Water Incineroar. Let's see how this final race of the night plays out. Off they go, and oh my gosh, would you look at that? The Pokeplaya is not in last place! Incineroar is the one in dead last, as it looks like it cannot even swim at all! The crowd are on their feet as the Pokeplaya finishes into the wall! He did it! The Pokeplaya beat Terra Water Incineroar! He did not get last! Would you look at him down there? You would have thought he just won gold at the Olympics! Let's take a look at the results from that exhilarating race as the lifeguards enter the pool to help Incineroar. And it is official. The Pokeplaya did not get last. He got 5th in this final race of the night, meaning the only Pokemon he beat all night was the only Pokemon that was not actually a water type. And that is all we have for you here tonight. Thank you all for watching our coverage of the first ever Pokemon Worlds swim meet. So there it is. I managed to swim faster then one water-type Pokemon, which I'm gonna take as a win. A small win, but still a win. Thanks for watching.